Hello Matrix and welcome again. Today we are going to carry on with how to get your derivative. Now, we looked last time at this x squared graph, and I just want to recap that because there was a little bit about the slope that I didn't go into, which I want to do now that we know how to find the derivative. So remember, just as a recap, if we want to find f dash of x, we say the 2 in the front, we bring that to the front. From our rule up here, we say we bring that n to the front, so we bring the 2 to the front. The a is just 1, so I'm going to write in the 1, although you wouldn't do that normally, because it's just wasting time. And then we say 2 minus 1, and so we end up with 2 times 1, which is just 2x. Okay. Okay, so this is the equation for the derivative. So it was g dash of x equals 2x. Now what's interesting here is, do you see that when x is negative, so this is the negative part, so remember negative, 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 and then here x is positive, positive, positive. Well, if we put in a negative value for our f, so say we had f dash of minus 3 equals 2 times minus 3, we get minus 6. Okay, and so yes, that's indeed correct, because the slope here was always going downwards. So if we were looking at tangents, which tell us the slope, we can see that they all go down where x is negative, and that's true because when we put in a negative, we'll get 2 multiplied by a negative, which will be a negative, and then of course here they're all positive. So I just wanted to show that before we carried on. And so our derivative, our equation for our derivative basically can tell you the slope at any point. So what I do is I just take the x value at that point, I put it into the derivative, and I know the slope at that point. And when our derivative is equal to 0, so when we say f dash of x equals 0, so let's say f dash of x equals 0, this finds our min and max, max min. Okay, and so when f dash of x, we say 2x equals 0, therefore x equals 0, and that's true. We have a minimum. Okay, so that is our derivative. So when our derivative is 0, we find that we have a maximum and a minimum. Okay, so what I want to do is just a few more of these derivatives and just show you that if you had, say, a function like x cubed plus 2x squared plus 3x plus 0, what you can do is to find your derivative, you can just do each of these individually using the power rule. Okay, so our n is 3, so it'll be just 3. 1, then it will be x, and then take 1 off the 3, and I get 2. Okay, here from our rule, our a is 2, so it's basically 2 times 2 is 4, and then take 1 off the 2, I get x. When it's just x and there's no exponent, so in other words, the exponent is just 1, I just take whatever's sitting with the x, which is 3. I'm going to make this not 0, but I'm going to make that 10. The derivative of 10 is 0. The derivative of any value that doesn't have an x is 0. So we use plus 0, which is nothing. And so the derivative of this is just 3x squared plus 4x plus, I don't need to write it again. That is the derivative. Okay, one more. If I have f of x equals a third x squared plus 2x, okay, the derivative will be 2 times a third, which is 2/3. Take 1 off that x squared, make it x plus 2. Okay. So those are the derivatives. So pretty easy to figure out your derivatives. Let me just do one more with a negative exponent, and I'm going to do it. So say you get f of x equals 1 over x squared. So what you first have to do is you have to write f of x equals, and I take the x squared to the top, and it becomes, let me put a 2 here, 2 over x squared. So we'll keep 2 at the top. The x also goes to the top, and when x squared goes to the top, it becomes x to the minus 2. Because when on my exponent laws, if I have an x squared, that's the same as saying 1 over x to the minus 2. Or if I have 1 over x squared, that's the same as saying x to the minus 2. Then I say minus 2 times 2 is minus 4. And then I take 1 off the minus 2, becomes minus 3. Then what I have to do is rearrange and put the x back at the bottom because I don't want a negative exponent. And so f dash of x for this one is negative 4 over x cubed. All right, so we'll probably do a little bit more of these, some past exam type questions in our notation and examples. But hopefully now you know how to use the power rule in order to get the equation for your derivative. And that will then tell you the slope at any point on your graph. Next up, we're going to be doing first principles, which is guaranteed 4 or 5 marks in your final exam. And it's the same every time. And I will look at that soon. If this helped you, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next lesson.